Down here in the bottom right, even before I started going live, I could have grabbed any of these links. So once you've started your Hangout on air, you can grab the links to start embedding those in websites. So the easiest thing that I find with this is just sending people directly to YouTube, mostly because you start embedding it in sites, and then various browsers and computers don't really play things very well if they're on a tablet. If you send someone a YouTube link, most computers, tablets, phones, anything, they can handle a YouTube link. So what would happen if you send someone that YouTube link and they're on a phone is it would open up the YouTube application and it would start the live stream. That's supported on phones and tablets as well. So I find it a little bit easier to just send people directly to YouTube rather than trying to embed it on a website. I'll still do that as well as sort of a, here's our live stream page, but in terms of publicizing it, I usually use the YouTube page. But you can grab all of those things right there. Close that for a minute. It keeps track in the bottom right of how many viewers you have as well, which can be kind of useful in terms of having that data to be able to say, you know, your administrators are going to ask, like, so we streamed it, how many people showed up, you know, how many people watched, and that kind of thing. So you can tell them. That'll show up down there, and you can get an idea of what your audience is right now. Yes. Yeah. So when they're watching on the YouTube page, all of those times that they've hit the play button, those are all viewers. So if they're actively watching that video at the moment. So let's see what that looks like real quick, just so you know, in case you've never been to a YouTube page that has a live stream in it. It's very similar to YouTube, which I love, is just that they go to the page, but instead of being able to move around on the video, you'll see that it's actually a live session. You're getting a nice view of, you know, the back of this. You know, you can see there's a little bit of a delay in there. Probably, in my experience, about 15 to 20 seconds of delay. So people who aren't right in the room won't notice. But just so you know. And then the person watching live can go backwards to view something again. But if they move forward, we're back to the live stream as well. So just going to leave a test comment in here. Now I'm going to go back to this, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So we're streaming that out. One thing that you can do, and this button wasn't showing up for me in Video Hangouts, but it is there as well, is that you can adjust different filters on your video as well. So, you know, if you want to get all moody, Instagram-like, you can do that. So there's a couple specific applications that you can only use in Hangouts on Air, mostly because they only make sense within this context. One of them is called Control Room. So let's say you have a Hangout, you've invited 3 or 4 other people to come talk with you, and you're going to be streaming that out, but you want to sort of play the control guy to say, like, I want to turn their volume down, they're a little bit high, and this person, their microphone's kind of low. You know, trying to walk them through the steps of finding what their settings are and everything can be kind of difficult. This will pop up in the right-hand side and allow you to adjust the volume levels of the different people. And that's what's being sent out. So it's not just for what you're hearing, but that's what's getting streamed out at that point. So this allows you to control it. If you need to mute someone for whatever reason, you have manual control over that. They get a notification saying, someone muted you. You know, so just so you know before you do it. But yeah, you can use their audio, their video, so you have complete control over what's coming in and what's being shown. That's the Control Room application. There's another one that has a similar feature set to that. I'll close that out for a minute. And that's called Cameraman. So this is kind of useful if you do want to open up a Hangout on Air and you want to say, hey, the first 10 people, you can be in there and, you know, have the video stuff going or whatever. But, you know, ultimately what you really know is that you don't want all of their videos to show up. You just want yours. Or you just want the 3 people who are a part of that video chat that's going to be about to be in there, at least for now. But maybe you want to be able to offer an opportunity for Q&A at the end. And if they were a part of those 10 people, you could bring them in. So what you do is you say, if you're part of the first 10 people, they come in here, we'll have a Q&A at the end, and we could have a live video Q&A. What you can do is temporarily at the beginning, you could say, as my guests join, hide their audio and video from my broadcast. So what happens is you'll still see all the thumbnails on the bottom, but your broadcast going out is just showing your video. So this is really cool because then I can change that later on so that I can say, bring this person in. So say, yeah, you had a question, what do you got? And then their video will come up on the screen in the broadcast as well. So being able to control when people's videos show up in that stream is really useful. And it gives you a little example there. Underneath of each thumbnail, it'll have a little icon that you can select, and that will enable their video again so that you can select it. So if you enable their video, once they start talking, the video will automatically switch to them. And then once they've done that question, you can disable it, and then they're off the screen again. So great way to offer a little bit more functionality, offer the ability for a little bit more engagement. But again, you're going to be limited by those 10 folks. And I think most of that's just current technology, you know, bandwidth-wise and that kind of thing. It's hard to get more than 10 people streaming video before everybody just starts crashing left and right. We don't have the bandwidth, you know, in the US at this point to offer that out more widely. So you have a couple other different granular options here. So new guests are muted when they join. So you could say, yeah, show all the videos underneath at the bottom, even out in the broadcast. But you know, after it's more than 3 people, don't add all those other microphones in there because it just starts to get chaotic. Close that out for a minute. The other thing which you mentioned was Q&A. Q&A is something that you have to turn on ahead of time. So it's going to give me an error, but we'll go back in. So it says this feature is disabled. All I have to do